Hi, my name is Kyle and welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the Cardi B and Candace Owens debate via Twitter and the response that actually happened on Instagram afterwards. And so for those of you who don't know, I'm a big fan of Candace Owens. She's a big influence of this channel and why we're going after culture. This channel, we take culture, TV, movies, we filter it right. And so what I want to talk to you about is this particular interchange with Cardi B, the musical artist, with Candace Owens. And she has done a lot of cool things on the internet, that is Candace Owens, that is. We have several videos on here. I'll leave some links to those below. And there's some controversy with Candace, but I love Candace. I think she's great. And I understand people who don't like her and why they don't like her. I don't agree with that because I think some of it's misplaced and I think a lot of it's just misinformation. But that being said, we can all agree, at least we should be able to agree, that what Candace Owens did on Twitter tonight with Cardi B was phenomenal. And I'm going to cover all of these tweets right here. And so what I'm going to look at here is how it got set up. And essentially what happened was that Cardi B was brought into a conversation with Ben Shapiro and Candace Owens in an interview that aired today, I believe. And so that's the interview right here that you see on this Twitter page. And so what that was entailed was about Joe Biden interviewing Cardi B. And the argument was that Joe Biden doesn't care about Cardi B or her music. He just wanted her so he could use her as a puppet to propagate his campaign to try and get the black vote. And so I'm going to go through that. And so essentially these tweets here are stemming from that. And let's go through all of them. So this will catch you up because this has really been a pretty big story on the internet. And so I want to catch you all up. So if you watch this video, you will be all caught up. All right. So check this out. So Candace says here in this tweet here, she says, since most black people didn't have the spine to admit that Ben Shapiro was 100% correct about Cardi B and how her music and platform contributes to the disintegration of black culture and values, here you go. And I'm not going to play this clip here. It's 2 minutes long. You can watch that on your own. And so Cardi B responds. She says, you want to know why. First of all, Cardi B, according to Candace Owens, is illiterate. So when I break down this tweet, it's going to sound disjointed. It's only because I'm reading it the way it's written. So Cardi B says, you want to know why Joe got to talk to me, Candace, because I have the #1 song, and yet my sister can't go to the beach in the Hamptons without Trump supporters harassing because they were by themselves and Santa Claus was harassing my sis girlfriend, all because there are a Afro-Hispanic gay couple, whatever. So she's saying that because they're harassed because of gay couples. I'll let Candace speak for herself here. I'll let her defend herself. So Candace says, to clarify, Joe Biden got to talk to you because you have the #1 song and Santa Claus was harassing your sister. Okay. Thanks for clearing that up. Thanks for clearing that one up. Cardi B comes back. She says, yes, you're right. I had the #1 song and I have a huge platform and I can make millions go vote to get the man that used you. I don't want to argue with you, Candace. I really don't have the time. I honestly just feel sorry for you, so forth. So Candace says, you are encouraging millions to go vote for the man that locked up entire generations of black men. Maybe go Google Joe Biden and 1994 crime bill. Joe Biden used you. Bernie Sanders used you. Neither one of them like or know your music. They think you're dumb. Trump 2020. Now, right here, what Candace is doing is she's elevating the discussion to the response that Cardi B brought to her. And so she's just hitting her back. And so and I'll let Candace explain that when we talk about her Instagram message, but essentially Cardi B is obviously uninformed and we'll see more of that as we go forward. And so what Candace is doing here and what we cannot forget that this is a pretty historical moment in the sense that you have a black conservative who is going against a liberal with a huge following. And that is very, very important. And that cannot be underscored enough, is that Cardi B is allowing this message to go on her Twitter stream and therefore let millions of people hear this and essentially possibly be red pilled. So she comes back and says, Cardi B that is, she says, yes, you are right. I have the number one song and I have a huge platform. And okay, she goes on. So then Candace says again, she says, lastly, asking racist Joe Biden to lower your taxes in the same breath that you ask for free universal health care is about as thick as it gets. When you stick to music, you can get left alone. When you dabble in politics, you will get called out for platforming ignorance. And I said in the live stream that the word ignorance does not mean, it's not a derogatory term. It just means that you just don't know. I mean, I'm ignorant on just about everything. Everyone is ignorant on something, and mostly everything, because we can't know everything. And so by her saying that, she's just letting her know. And I'm thinking, Cardi B may take that as an offensive because she's not having anyone tell her at all that her opinions aren't right. She's in her little bubble, and eventually she will leave Twitter and go off to a bubble in Instagram because, well, she's getting hammered. And so we have a person here says, but Candace, she has the number one song. And people use the enumeration of the letters reversed. That means something. I'm not sure exactly what that means, but I think it means something like, well, it's disparaging, I think. Cardi B says, and you are encouraging millions to go vote. Okay, I'll say, and you're encouraging millions to go vote for a man who laughs every time a black man gets killed by a cop and tells millions of Americans to drink bleach. Trump didn't even have you talking at the Republican convention. He thinks you're dumb. Massa did you dirty, but you mad at me? Massa, okay. So of course, liberals typically accuse you of things that they are guilty of. So she's calling, Candace Owens the slave, but it's actually the reverse. So Candace says, point number one, produced a clip of Trump laughing at black men getting killed. You lying fraud. Number two, I turned down filming a spot for the RNC convention. She turned it down. And three, you encourage millions of young girls to spread their legs, and you admit to date raping men, so you don't even start on the bleach lie. So if you don't know, Candace Owens is referring to a story that Cardi B admitted to, that she was a dancer at a club and she would sometimes drug the men and rob them of their money. That's what she's referring to. And so Candace goes on to say, Cardi B responds by saying, well, paying taxes is something that as much as I hate, it's a reality. I will always have to pay, but I'd rather my tax money go to free education than police funding. Use my money on something useful. Your president used our tax money to fund his empty campaign runs, whatever that means. So Candace comes back with 3 more points. She says, your tax dollars go to free education, genius. Number 2, no campaign uses tax dollars for funding. It's illegal. 3, defunding police initiatives have led to 200% increases in black men getting shot in inner cities. Stop supporting black people dying. And so the other guy named Indy Spanglish says, so Cardi B is currently receiving the business by Candace. Yes, she is. Must be a Labor Day because she's getting... and Nichelle says, Team Candace, Black Women for Trump. And so more support's coming in. And so update. So basically Cardi B left the platform and she went over to Instagram. And Candace says here, Cardi B is in the middle of a live stream, Instagram stream about me, riveting educational content about how she has so many followers. So that's why Joe Biden has to speak to her. She has unfortunately spelled my handle wrong, but people are helping her out in the comments. And so I'm gonna leave that there for the actual Twitter piece of it. And so, so essentially, I was saying this in the live stream that this is a great opportunity for people to see the truth, because the left doesn't want conservatives to talk to liberals. They don't want that to happen. They don't want that dialogue to happen. They don't want Joe Biden debating. They don't want any kind of discussion. They don't want speakers in schools, because their policies and their positions have gone so radically far to the left. It's so far out of the mainstream that it's embarrassing for them. And they do not want to defend them. So the only way to combat that is to name call, to denigrate, and to keep them away on the premise that they are evil people. And if you can do that, then they can maybe get away with it for a while. But with the internet, it's almost impossible. And so by Cardi B engaging here, I give her mad props. And if she keeps her tweets up and not delete them, I would even give her even more mad props, because that just means that she's on her way to actually becoming educated. And so what Candace did was she went on a live stream here. I'm not going to play. I may play some of this, I may not. I just have the entire summary here that I'm going to go over. And so essentially what Candace Owens did in the speech was, or in this live stream, was she said that she said, Cardi B, you're upset only because you got called out and you got dragged. You know, she called her uneducated, which she is uneducated. You can see that. And she said that Ben Shapiro and her didn't mean to insult her or offend her, but they were just telling the truth that Joe Biden doesn't care about you. That, you know, and that this whole thing about him being homophobic is totally ridiculous, considering he was the only president, or the first president in history, to go into his administration being pro-gay marriage. Obama wasn't there until his second term. She goes into taxes, and she calls her out in taxes by her claiming, now this is an interview that she did with Joe Biden. She was sitting with Joe Biden, and she basically told Joe Biden, look, I want low taxes, but I want universal health care. And Candace Owens says that is silly, because everyone knows, even people who are for universal health care know that you're going to have to raise taxes an astronomical amount to pay for it. And so for her to do that doesn't make any sense. And then she says, your number one song that you have all over the world means nothing for the black community. It's neither helping. She said it's not helping. In fact, it's hurting the black community, because all it's doing is just destroying the culture, and it is doing nothing to advance any of us. She also says that Cardi B mentioned that she's scared of the police. And she's saying, when she talked to Joe Biden, Cardi B that is, she asked Joe Biden, she said, what are we going to do with all these black men dying? And Candace Owens is saying, what Joe Biden should have said was, what are black men going to do about black men dying? Because they're the ones killing other black men. And then Cardi B said that she's afraid of the police officers. Well, Candace Owens said, if you're afraid of them, you should be more afraid of your husband, because he's black, and you have a more high probability of being killed by your husband than you will by a cop. And that cops are 18 times more likely to be killed by a black person than the other way around. Again, she calls it uneducated. And she says that Cardi B, I think, made a charge on her that she doesn't want, that Cardi B said that she does not want, Cardi B said that Candace Owens does not want celebrities to be engaged in politics. Candace Owens said, no, that's not true. I want you guys to be involved if you are sincere, if you are able to bring in both sides and have a reasonable argument, not just be a mouthpiece for one party. That was really important and very interesting. She brought up Charlemagne the Lower G God, and how he took Biden to task and didn't just, he didn't just knock over and just do whatever the Biden campaign wanted. He asked tough questions, and Biden didn't like that. And that he also engages conservatives as well. He looks to both sides and is open-minded in doing that, because he said that he's friends with Tim Scott, who's a conservative, black conservative. And I thought that was a pretty good point. I'm going to start talking about that too on this channel, that yeah, if you want to engage, at least be sincere about it and show that you have a willingness and openness to hear both sides. Otherwise, you have no credibility. You're just a mouthpiece, and you make yourself look silly, especially if you're not coming with some facts. So then she said, she said all you did with Joe Biden was ask for a Santa Claus list. Give me this, give me that, give me this, give me that. And that she said, Candace Owens said, that Joe Biden knows uneducated. He knows that when he was sitting with you and his expression on his face was like of confusion, he knew that what he was doing was simply just to get your support, get people in your camp, to get people to vote for him, because Joe Biden isn't doing very well in the black vote right now. He just is not. especially with black men. And so Candace Owens says, you bring up stuff about bleach and laughing at black men. Show me the clip. And to say stuff like that, which is an outright lie, means you're not serious. It means you're just a political fraud, which you call her. You call her a political fraud. She said that Cardi B has no idea why she's voting Democrat. She has no idea the history of the party, any of the policies. She just hates Trump because people told her to hate Trump. And I have a video about Candace Owens, about the 7 reasons why people don't like Candace Owens. And one of those reasons, spoiler alert, is because people told you not to like Candace Owens. And I'm getting off subject here, but there's a movie that I saw this past weekend. It was called The Push. It's on Netflix. It's a social experiment. It's about an hour long. It's about social conditioning. If you're near somebody or next to somebody, how you can be conditioned to do whatever you're told just from being around people. And that's what's happening with a lot of this stuff. It happens on both sides. It happens with people who hate Candace Owens. It happens to people who hate Trump and have no idea why. And so, anyway, she also mentioned that Cardi B, because of her stance on police funding and defunding the police, that's going to cause more cops to be in danger. And because cops tend to be in the neighborhoods that they live in, there are more black cops in black neighborhoods, in other words. And so you're helping or aiding or increasing the likelihood of more black people getting killed because black cops are getting killed as well. And so she stood on that particular stance. I thought that was pretty good. She mentioned about economics, not having any idea about the economics of what's going on with your tax position. Also, that you can stand alongside with Joe Biden, who is locked arms with racists, who was a chief proponent of segregation. He was also the founder. He's also one of the architects of the crime bill that helped lock many black men up. And then she offered her a signed copy of her book, and I think it's called Blacked Out. And in that book, she talks about how she'll give her a signed copy and all of that. So I'll play a little clip of it here, just a little clip of it, and see what you think of it.
Police officers that are dying, because it tends to be that police officers look like the neighborhoods that they're policing. So you are actually standing on a platform for more black men to die, for taxes to be raised, right? For a man that has a very atrocious race record to be put into office, who looked at you the entire time like he was confused when you were talking because he knew that you were nothing but a puppet for him to be able to get a platform. That's it. You're a puppet. They use you. Okay. And you want to sit here and talk about Trump using me, or like, what are you talking about? Using me for what? I don't work for the RNC. I don't get paid by the Trump campaign. I say what I believe. You don't know what to do when you're looking at a black woman that's free. That's what your problem is. I am telling you who I support, and I'm educated. And I'm challenging you to become educated. I'm challenging you to sit down with black conservatives, okay, and have a meaningful conversation and a dialogue about what you actually want, and to actually try to understand the economics behind what you want, and to try to understand why it is you're actually supporting a man that does not care about black lives and never has, and has been in office for decades and hasn't changed anything, and you're blaming Trump? It makes no sense. You hate Trump because they told you to hate Trump. You gave me no valid reasons for hating Trump. Not a single one, not even one valid reason for why you hate Trump. You just think you're supposed to because you're a puppet. That's what happens when you get big. Look, Cardi, I enjoyed you a lot.
So Candace is, that's my girl right there. So, and so she goes on there and she just did a good job. And I think this is something that people need to hear. And I'm hoping that more people can get on that feed and see those tweets and be a source of inspiration or red pill or something to get them to start thinking for themselves. And I don't think people want to be slaves mentally. I think they're slaves because they don't know they're slaves. And so that's what I think Candace Owens brings to the table. And anyone who is against Candace Owens, I point stuff up like this as to why she is insanely important in the black community, and how she's fearless, and how she's doing so much more to advance this movement and this cause to help President Trump get reelected. And let's just call it for what it is. If Trump does not get elected, it's going to be rough sailing for a lot of us. And so that's what I want to talk about in this particular video. I'm going to go to bed, but I may talk more about this later on the channel. My name is Kyle. This is The Conservative Take, where we take culture, TV, movies, and politics and filter it right. If this is your first time here, please click like and subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss any future content. Go to walkedaway.net and let people know where you first walked away. And please share with your friends as we're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. And lastly, check out some content that I have right